let's start here because self-care is clearly a very important element in your life. And I imagine when I was sitting back thinking about my ancestors, like I was sharing with you, they didn't know anything about
They didn't know anything about that.
They ran themselves into the ground for church, for family, for the kids, for their husbands, for everybody. Even the men ran themselves into the ground and then didn't have anything left, but they didn't know they were supposed to have nothing left. So I just wanted to ask you, what has made you be so intentional in your personal self-care?
I just feel like in order for me to pour into someone else, I got to first pour into myself. Because if I don't pour into myself, I'm not any good to anyone else.
I know that's right.
So I believe that self-care for me is so important, and I don't let anyone disturb my self-care, because that's like a peace of mind for me.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to even, because it does cost to do self-care, you know. So I'm just so glad that at this point in my life that I'm able to afford to do self-care, you know, and that self-care includes for me getting my facials every 2 weeks, getting acupuncture, getting massages every 2 weeks, going to the chiropractor, so, you know, and going to the gym, working out, you know, and just making sure that mentally that I'm sound.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I can't be sound if I can't take care of this, you know, I can't take care of this business if I'm not sound-minded.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not getting self-care.
Enough said.
Okay.
Enough said. But so for the last 15 years, I have been really pushing women to do this because we were taught this burnout. And if we're going to do any better by our daughters and our daughters' daughters, we need to first be clear that it's important to take care of self, that you deserve to be on the list. But then I love all the things that you shared, because it's not just about get my hair done, get my nails done. The depth of true self-care are those holistic things that we do that are very valuable, and especially in the perimenopausal, menopausal years, your body is trying to figure it out, and we have to give it some extra love.
And one thing I want to say too about self-care is taking the right supplements, giving yourself the right supplements in order to, you know, to survive out here. Because if you don't, you know, you're gonna tumble.
Yeah.
You know,
and you got to be strong.
Right, you got to be strong, and you got to take your vitamins, you got to take your supplements, you got to take your herbal products. I'm all into it. You know, I'm a Melaleuca girl.
So are we.
I take AM package, and then I do my herbs in the afternoon, then I do my PM, then in the morning I'm doing my sea moss in the morning, and then at night I'm doing my calm, my magnesium, because I need to calm myself down.
Yeah, that's
you
so
know?
good.
Yeah,
so
I do.
when did you know that the family business was for you? Were you the little girl watching growing up thinking you wanted it?
Well, I always worked with my father. Even when I was in high school, I would come down on the weekends and help my dad. I never knew what it meant for the 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. I didn't know what that meant to go over to someone's house, because my dad was always saying, Carmen, are you coming down to help me? And I said yes. And even when I would come home from school, from college, I helped my father on the weekend. Even when I taught, because I taught with CPS for 34 years.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
So on the weekends, I would go and help my father.
Okay.
You know, so it got to the point that when I saw how the sacrifice that my dad and his 2 brothers made, and plus I was so grateful that my dad's 2 brothers, they own 59th Street, and my dad worked for Bat's Restaurant, and they wanted to open up a second location, which was 75th Street. So they brought my dad in. So I was very grateful for them to bring my dad in, because that gave us a better life. That gave my dad an opportunity to send me to school, pay for my schooling, didn't have any loans or anything. So I was grateful for that. When I saw that they made the sacrifice for my father, and I saw that my father was a solo act, but he worked alone. He told my play sister to stay here with me, and I'll give you a better life. And her name is Lynn. And she's like she's not my blood sister, but she's my sister. You know, I wouldn't trade her for anything, because she is there for me. She got my back. And you need someone that you can trust in this type of business.
That kind of business.
Yeah. So you know what? I am just grateful all the way around.
Wow.
You know, and then I have my 2 nephews. You know, they work with me too, so
Okay.
I'm grateful for them. Pulling the load too.
So, your dad, he was part of the other restaurant first,
He
or he
worked-
had his own restaurant
No,
and then he folded
no,
in.
he never had his own restaurant. He
Got
worked
it.
for Bat's restaurant.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And what happened, they saw how committed my dad was to Bat's restaurant. They said, you know what, we need to open up a second location.
Got it.
So why don't we open up 75th Street and let James run that? Because they saw that he was responsible and he was a
He
hard
treated
worker.
it like his own.
Right, and he treated it like his own. So, you know, and my dad was very generous, very kind-hearted, just give you the shirt off his back. You know, people loved him,
Wow.
you know. And, you know, the daughter, me, I'm a little bit more stern, a little bit more firm, but I am loving,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna let you take advantage of me. And at one point, you know, they would take advantage of my father. You know,
Okay.
they would bring back orders and say, Mr. Lim, this wasn't right. My policy is it's a show and tell. You got to show me something and I will replace it. You don't show me anything, I can't replace it.
Well, that's only fair.
Because I can't make any money like
Right.
that. But see, my dad wasn't. He
He was
wasn't
just
like that.
kind.
He was old school, very kind-hearted, and just a very generous, giving person.
Wow. So when did it turn into Limbs?
Oh, it turned into Limbs in 1954.
Okay.
Okay, that's the name that that they took because it's from our last name.
Got it.
Lemons. Limbs come from lemons.
Got it.
Okay, so it was always Limbs, but as we moved forward, I saw that they didn't have a logo. They were not trademarked, you know. So I knew that as a result of, you know, things that's happened in my family, I knew that I had to trademark my
Handle the
and protect
business.
my family's business. So I trademarked it. I got us a logo. So you know what? It just all while I was teaching, I was working on this logo thing, you know.
Got it.
And I knew that I like orange, green, and yellow. And so that's why now it's orange, green, and yellow.
Okay.
You know, so you know, it's just been a blessing, and really I have to really give all the credit to the Lord because He ordered my steps throughout this whole process. You know, because I've made so many changes. Like we weren't selling our seasoning. You know,
Okay.
the way we used to do our seasoning, it was so old school, you know. So what I did, I got with my, the company, Consumer, I told them that, you know, it took a lot of work to get that seasoning together.
Okay.
And so I told them I wanted to sell our seasoning, and then even to make our sauce, I wanted to package our, the spices for our sauce. Not the way we used to scoop it up and sift it.
Yep.
I said,
There's gotta be a better way.
Yeah, it has to be a better way. We can't continue this way. And even with our hot links, I changed that.
Okay.
I got a lot of flack for it, but you know what? It works out because the way they were making the hot links, I wanted the hot links to be with a company that was FDA approved. Okay. And the way they were making the hot links, it's just like you could see the gristle and stuff, and it wasn't grind up enough for me because I'm one of those health kids.
Yeah.
You know, it got to be right. It got to be like a sausage.
If we're gonna eat it,
Yeah,
it's
if
got
we're
to
gonna
be
eat
right.
it got to be right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make it right. So I changed that. I went on to a company called Wichita. Later on, I changed the whole process because I used to season the ribs. I used to have a crew that would season the ribs. So you know what? That got to be stressful for me. You know, me depending on another person to come in to season my stuff. Because if they don't season it, then
It ain't right.
my stuff don't work.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to a company called Wichita. They order my seasoning. They get a whole box of the seasoning and they put it in a machine and they season the ribs, they season the tips, and they
Okay.
make the hot mix.
And by the time they get it to you, it's just ready to cook and go.
It's ready to cook and
And
go.
when I call on the phone and I'm listening, all I hear is chop, 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 chop.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's the
So
soundtrack.
that process has really, we have come, like they say, a mighty long way.
A mighty long
A mighty
way.
long way, but leaning and depending on the Lord and allowing Him to order your steps.
That's the way to get
You
through
know,
any and
to
everything.
anything is to listen to what He tells you.
Yes,
You know.
so true.
Yeah.
And to that end, thank you for doing this interview and sharing because
Mm-hmm.
so many people think that, oh, I'm gonna start a family business and my family is gonna go and last for generations and
Mm-hmm.
generations. And I think a lot more people in our generation right now are starting family businesses with this kind of legacy in mind. But if you were to speak to the young people in those families carrying these famous last names that are on buildings and businesses. What would you say to those people to find their way, to jump into the business? How would you help somebody navigate?
I would tell them, first of all, it takes a lot of commitment. You got to, first of all, you got to love what you do. You know what I'm saying? You got to love your business, and you have to make your customers a priority,
Yes.
okay, in order to carry on a business. And you got to make sure that you are loving the people that work for you, that you're loving the community. It's not just about making money, it's about giving back. You know, giving back through different foundations, giving back to the community. We've done that. I've purchased groceries. We've gone to Aldi's. We purchased groceries. We've given out gift cards. I partner with Salem Baptist Church, where we open up. We have a give back where we a week before Thanksgiving, all the money that we make, employees, they have to work free that day.
Wow.
And it's called give back. You do not get paid that day because everything that we make at this register is going out. We give to an organization called Limits of Love. They give care packages to those who are going through cancer treatments. And then I give to various foundations. And then with Salem had a program called Black Literacy. And I was so intrigued with that program because by me being a teacher, I understand that our black boys are having a problem with reading. So what happened when Reverend Charlie Dates said that LIMS is going to be open and they're going to give all their profit to us, which I didn't say, but then the Lord spoke to me and said,
that's what I said.
That's what you're going to do. You're going to give everything that you make at that register that day on Tuesday. You're going to give it all back. So when I gave it back, that was in November.
Okay.
Little did I know that God had a plan, and He had this Jane Spirit Award that was done that was announced in February that we were going to get that. And that's why I told my sister, you cannot be God-given.
Yeah.
If you only just obey and do what He tells you to do, you don't know what He got in store for you.
So true.
You know, and just to give you, and it's an abundance, it's an overflowing, you know, and it has, because we've always had lines, and I was just telling her that the other day, we've always had lines, but these lines are
Filled
different.
with different people.
They're different. They're bringing back the ones that left us.
Yeah.
We got our newcomers that's coming.
I came all the way from Munster, Indiana for these hot links. I mean, they put their heart and soul into this. Like, there is a reputation to uphold, a legacy to uphold.
You got the tours, okay? And then you got our regular customers that's telling us, I can't even get in here now. Okay? What's going on? So when I see the lines, but then when I see the overflow of just the revenue that's coming in,
God's blessing.
It's powerful. It's, you know, it's just, you know, you just got to let God be God.
Yes.
You know, and just be a good steward of it.
Yes, of what
know.
you have and of expecting more.
Yes,
It's how we believe that, you know, what we got to be good with what we have and expect more. Not do things to get more, but just be expectant that things are working out well.
Yeah, expect more, but to give back.
Yes,
Though. You know what I'm saying? When you just, you know, want it a tight fist, you can't get nothing with a tight
You're
fist.
right.
You got to open it up, and you got to give back. It's a must that you give back.
Indeed.
Though,
And
you know?
there's so many ways to do so. And so
Yes.
if people just really gave back in human currency of the kindness and taking care of things when you see people that need it. I do so many things for people that I don't ever talk about because
Right.
it's never to be discussed.
Right,
It is
absolutely.
between my journey of sowing my seeds to, you know, just manifest the life
and
I
you
love.
don't even, I mean, some of the things that some of the customers, like we had a young lady, she came to the back door. So she said, Miss Lim, I don't have money, but I'm hungry. I said, just go and stand in line. Since she said she didn't have enough money, why I'm gonna take whatever she got.
right.
You know, so I didn't. I said, here, don't worry about it, we're good. You know, and when customers can see something in you, like I had a customer that had brain surgery. Okay, she called me at the door, and she said, Miss Lim, I want you to pray for me. And to me, that's powerful. You know,
They see
even
your
though,
spirit.
right, even though they might say I'm hard, you know what I'm saying, and that I don't want. That most of them come in and tell me I don't want no smoke. I said, you won't get no smoke if you don't start the fire. You know, now if you start the fire, Now, and it's just certain, you know, things that we do have that I have structured in the store.
Yeah.
We only have 5 customers in. Before, when COVID hit, it was 3 coming in.
Okay.
We had the idea set up for COVID because we had the bulletproof glass, so it was blocking us in between the customer and ourselves. So I said 3. Now it's 5, and it's comfortable because I don't want them piling up on each other.
Yeah,
I
'cause
want
they
them,
will.
Yeah, and they will. They will do it. So they look at us funny when we say 5 in, you know, 1 in and 1 out. Step back, and slide down. It's like, you telling me to step back? You telling me what to do? Yes, I'm telling you what to do.
Structure up in here.
Yeah, it's structure, it's order. You know, as it say, order my steps. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? I said, you know about that? I said, because if you don't, this ain't
You
the
gonna
place
learn
for
today.
you. Yeah, you gonna learn today. Okay, you gonna learn today. So you know, most of them are kind of getting used to it because when I leave, it's like the customer, where are you going?
Then they don't want you to go.
Don't leave. We want you here. I told them I gotta go home and get some rest. But see, now they're getting used to the order.
Yeah.
And the thing about it, we're getting ready to celebrate. We celebrate every year August on the 13th of August.
Okay.
Now this is true story.
Okay.
August 13th, my dad was born.
Okay.
The brother that started the store was born August 13th.
Really?
But 4 years apart.
Wow.
So I said that I'm not
There's
looking.
definitely a formula to the parents around that time.
So I'm not looking for a day. The date
That's
is
the
August
day.
13th. We had a big celebration
Okay.
for our 70th. We unveiled the street name for my father,
Okay.
James B. Lemus Way. And before then, when my father died in 2015, what I did, I wanted a meal. I wanted to do scholarship, but then the Lord gave me the dream. He said, why don't you name a meal after your father?
Oh.
So it's called JBL Special.
Okay.
And you get 2 rib bones, 2 wings, order fries, a hot link, and you get a few tips.
Okay.
And
So
it comes
just a little bit.
and it comes in a tray just
Okay.
to sample everything.
Uh-huh.
You know.
That's my kind of meal. I like to try a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
things.
So I said my dad, and it's one of our top sellers.
Okay.
Now, can I tell you about the experience that I had
Tell
with the
me.
James Beard Award?
That was my next question.
Okay.
Come on. So
Okay.
tell me all
So,
about it.
What happened with the James Beard Award? They announced that we were going to get the James Beard Award in February.
Okay.
We actually received the award in June.
Yes.
Okay. So when they announced it in February, that was the month that my mom was born, February 1st.
Okay.
Okay. Then in June, when we actually received the award, June 16th, at the Lyric Opera House,
Okay.
my mom died June 7th.
Oh, I got you.
So that's the month that we received the award. So now they gave me 2 nights at the Hilton.
Okay.
I check in at the Hilton June 15th.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't tell this story on Facebook, this part of the story. June 15th, I checked in on Father's Day.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
15th was when my father died, 2015. But wait a minute. They tell me, I said, what's my room, what floor am I on? They said, you're on the 13th floor. I'm telling you, I almost lost it.
And 13 to you.
13th is, my dad was born August 13th. My dad died December the 13th.
A lot of bookends in that
Yeah,
story.
and then my uncle, we got 4 years apart, the 13th.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was an amazing story. So I knew that my parents, their spirit was
All in it.
all around me.
That's so good.
Yeah, and see, people, they don't pay
It feels
attention to numbers. I guess I'm just a number person. It was just a powerful moment for me,
Yeah.
you know, to experience that though, you know, because, you know, a math teacher and not just being a math teacher, it's having a spiritual encounter and God making you aware of what's going on.
Yeah. But if you weren't tuned into your listening and your noise was so loud, you would have missed all of that in the story.
Absolutely.
And we are living in a loud noise society where there's so much going on that people don't often tune in to hear their own voice. And growing up in my family, it was one of the things that I feel like I got from them without them saying it. I just learned to listen. And when somebody, when the voice says call such and such, I stop what I'm doing and I call. And more times than not, that person will say, I was just thinking about you. Or you didn't know, but I needed to hear from you. And we miss those sweet messages that are being sent to us. But like that gave me chills just to, for you to recognize it and see how powerful it was as it was happening. What have been the benefits or the newness of what has come from the James Beard Award, other than your new visitors? Have there been any other opportunities that have come your way?
Well, just new opportunities, doing interviews. People want to come, and when people come from out of town, they want to see what Limbs is about. I just had a couple that came from Scottsdale. I forgot the name of their business. It's like a soul food breakfast place.
Okay.
They came. Of course, they don't wait in line. They come through the back door. They want to talk. They want to take footage. So all that's been very exciting. And our customers, they are excited for us. You know what I'm saying? They are so excited, and they always say, it should have happened a long time ago. But like I told them, everything happens in God's own time. Like I tell them, we have the 4 seasons, spring, summer, winter, and fall. But then we also have due season. And when due season comes, that's your season. And when God says that it's your time, it's your turn, it's your turn.
Period.
So I just told him, period. When you thinking that it's long overdue, but God said, no, I know when I'm going to set this up.
It sounds like all of those things that you needed to get in place to have a scalable machine to even be able to handle this type of business at this time was necessary, because the old systems were put in just to make it good. These systems that you've put in have been to make it great.
And the thing that I can really appreciate my dad when I see other businesses is that he got a standalone building. That I'm not in no mall area or whatever where I gotta pay rent, and that's why I can give back to my customers far as do they pay? They always ask me, do we have to pay for the credit cards? Do you charge a fee for the credit cards? I said, no, I incur that every month. That's almost
cost of doing business.
Right, $3,000 to $4,000. I appreciate you using your credit cards, because you know what? You helping me not to have a lot of cash flowing through this business. So you know what? I'm okay with it. And God is just, He's all in that too, just working it out. So they're very appreciative like that. And so like I said, August 13th is going to be the day that we have a celebration and what we're going to do. And the customers give me ideas too. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give them this tote bag where, we give them the bag to put their food in, but they're going to have a tote bag. So I'm going to give that away. And on our logo now is going to be James Beard Award winner underneath it, and the address and phone number. So I'm going to give them that. And so one of my customers came in the other day. So she said, well, what if your birthday is August 13th?
Oh.
I said, you know what?
What you gonna get?
You got me thinking. I said, you might get a you might get a JBL special.
That's perfect.
I said, it's my dad's birthday. I said, but now I got to see your license.
Right. It's got to be your actual birthday.
You got to,
So if your birthday August 13th,
your
you might want to stop on by Limbs.
But I ain't gonna put that out in the atmosphere, because I said a whole lot of folks be stopping by on August 13th. But but she said that, and I said, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. That's cute. That's cute.
Because I try to implement some of the ideas I implemented in my class. It's just like when we had our celebration, like when the 13th person come in, we count them, they got a special thing. So we did a lot of little,
Do you miss teaching?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the day that I left teaching back in 2009, I cried, because your kids, because I made my classroom an atmosphere for my kids, because I didn't know what type of atmosphere they were living in and where they came from. So I wanted to make it a very loving, a very warm atmosphere with plants, learning posters and stuff. And kids, when I left, they put a little booklet together They were so nice and kind to me. So I missed that part, and I see a lot of my former students come in the store.
Of course.
Yeah, they recognize Miss Lemon.
Is that you?
Miss Lemon, you still look the same, you know, because on Facebook, when I got the award, one person said, that looked like my teacher at Dunbar. She hasn't changed. She still looked the same, you know.
Oh, it's all that self-care.
Yeah. Girl, you
keep
know
yourself
it.
together.
Mhm.
So this interview is on behalf of the Chicago Defender doing something called the Voices of Influence. And when I decided to join the Defender team, it's the perfect reminder that 120 years, this is their 120th year, 120 years of what has happened is history, which you and your family's legacy are a part of. But we are also history in the making right now. And when I think about the James Beard Award, like that's your 2025 part of your legacy. Where does the Defender fall into your life for the first time?
Oh, when my parents used to always get the Chicago Defender years ago. Oh, now that's one paper I did read. Okay, I was going to read the Chicago Defender because, first of all, it was a thin paper. It wasn't a lot. That
It wasn't
you had
intimidating.
Right, it wasn't intimidating. So you know what? That's something that was readable.
Yeah.
And you could understand. They had a lot of pictures in there.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I could appreciate the Chicago Defender.
Yeah, and they tell our story. They tell our story
Right,
about
they tell
us,
our story
from
about us. Right.
Yes.
It's our people.
Our people.
Our people telling about us.
Yes, and
Okay?
that's some of what I think is most important in this day and age of whether it's real fake news that they're feeding us or just taking our story out of books. The Chicago Defender becomes even more valuable because it's the place where we know they can't take our story from us.
No, and I'm so glad that they're still there, you know, because people still, some of my stores was telling me, they sent me like the articles that they had in about the James Beard.
Looking for these stories of people from Chicago that main news media doesn't usually cover.
But you still got to meet the need of, you know, not just older people, but, you know, even the younger people.
Yeah.
Some people are not out there like that.
So true.
Yeah,
So true.
yeah.
Well, anybody that hasn't been to Limbs, I recommend that you stop on by, get you a
JBL
JBL special, because you
Yes.
got to have it. Even I'm gonna come get me a JBL special, but I'm gonna need to knock on the back door, because that front door intimidates me. I be going other places on 75th Street, and I be like, what they got in there? And that was before the award. And so I am so honored to sit down with you and inspired by your insistency on self-care, because you get one body to preserve, to live in this lifetime, and how you take care of it means everything. And no matter the success of your business, the amount of money in your bank account, if your health is not your wealth, you have nothing.
Right, and my thing too is to be a good steward of the temple that God has blessed you with.
Yes, yes.
Because I want to hear him say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Not just over the stuff that he blessed me with, but that I was faithful over this temple that you blessed me with.
Yep.
I tried to feed it right, I tried to treat it right.
Yep. And now you are doing that to help the people be on the path as well. And so I thank you so much, Miss Carmen.
No problem.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Love you.